Welcome back, everybody, to Pick and Roll. This is your daily NBA betting and discussion show powered by the Hammer Betting Network. The Board NBA is where you can watch this on YouTube and on Twitter. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at the Board NBA for all updates on the show. And we encourage you to watch the live stream or watch the video after the fact on YouTube, where you can and get involved with the comments. We like to interact with the chatters as we go throughout the stream. And the only place you can do that is YouTube, because we cannot see the Twitter comments in real time. Also, you could be watching this or listening to this rather in podcast form, wherever you like to get your podcast, as soon as possible after the live stream ends. And we got some people ready to get going for today. We're excited. Pips has had a great week so far with the picks. Winning day yesterday, 6-1 on the week. 2 more official plays coming later today. But to start us off, I want to talk about the Boston Celtics, because it's hard to ignore them, especially when they played yesterday against the Western Conference 1 seed. And yesterday we spoke about who the best team in the West is. Phoenix were first going into the game yesterday. We both kind of like the Pelicans, but there's no denying how good the Phoenix Suns have been. Celtics beat the Suns yesterday. That's that's a pretty blanket statement here, because they absolutely beat down the Phoenix Suns. They ended up winning 125-98. At one point, it was 91-49 for the Celtics. And if they can even beat the Suns by that margin, is there any team in the NBA that can stop the Celtics?
Yeah, I don't think that team is on the West Coast. I think healthy Bucks may have the chance, but this was annihilation last night. And the interesting thing is that Chris Paul was back, so
that was the most surprising thing. The Suns were healthy, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they missed Cam Johnson, but everyone else is ready, and I don't think Cam Johnson playing would make any difference there. Yeah, it was amazing to see, and I was actually on the way to bet Boston, but then I saw Horford ruled out, and their defensive rating in the games where Horford is out is like way above their usual rating with him. So I decided to stay away, and oh boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. I was close to betting on the Suns myself, so I'm happy I didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, like I talked earlier on this show, it's like they're not even trying on defense until it matters. And we saw that last night. When they are locked in, they're just unbelievable. Because they were over the first 17 or 18 games, they were the 23rd best defensive team, which is they were second best last season, and they were close to the first one. And yeah, I just knew that's not where they will end the season. And as we already spoke on this show, I think 3 days ago, they are the third best defense over the last 3 weeks, and I think they will end up the season in the top 5. And yeah, when it matters, they are just focused in. And as you said earlier, at the point where you said it was 90-49 or something,
yeah,
they had 40, 50, and 90 shooting from the field goal, 3-point line, and free throw line.
Yeah.
And then in the last quarter, they ruined it a bit. But yeah, when they are in, they're amazing.
They're actually pretty close to shooting 50, 40, 90 as a team this season. I just don't think they can do that. I think the hardest one for them is going to be the free throw percentage, honestly. But this team, it seemed like earlier in the year, because their offense was looking so good, new coach Mazzulla, who's doing so well, it seemed like they were maybe sacrificing some defense for offense. Robert Williams has also missed the entire season so far. So, it kind of hey, wow, the offense is this good. Wonder if the defense is going to be able to catch up. Well, the defense has caught up, and the offense has stayed the same. I think that the NBA Finals this year is going to be the Eastern Conference Finals, which is likely going to be between the Celtics and the Bucks, assuming both teams are healthy, because we spoke about the West yesterday. It's hard to pick out a winner, a best team in the West. We're only 30% of the way into the season. There's still lots of time, but no team in the West is stopping the Celtics or the Bucks if they manage to get to the finals. So that's your actual NBA final over there. Let's move on now into the recap from yesterday. So, seemed like it was going to be a losing day, but DeMar DeRozan comes through really late. It's been a great week on the show for people who have been tailing 6-1 so far, 3 winning days after the picks go 2-1 yesterday. And let's recap all of them individually. Let's start with that DeMar DeRozan one, because at halftime, it looked like this one had no chance. But if you've been betting DeRozan with us so far this season, you never know with him, and especially the Bulls in general, because Levine had one he pulled out. What happened to DeRozan in the second half here?
Yeah, like most of the games this season, he just was letting other guys trying to get in the rhythm in the first half, and second half start, Wizards had the lead, and he just decided to, okay, so if we want to win this, I need to score a bunch of points, and he did exactly that. And the thing is, when he was on the roll, they started double teaming him in the fourth quarter, and it didn't matter. Like they double teamed him on pick and rolls, like 3 straight possessions, and then he just decided to not call. He said like Vucevic were starting to get to set a pick, and he just showed him move away. Like, let me go into my isolation, and he would just go inside to the free throw line in isolation, pop up, shoot mid-range. It's either in or foul, and yeah, amazing scoring for DeRozan. He's just unbelievable scorer.
Yeah, really piled in the points late, so we're happy to catch that one after a slow start. Another player who suffered from a slow start but could not make it up, Jaren Jackson Jr. He had 2 points, I think, at halftime here, and overall, just weird game with not a ton of shooting going up in the first half, especially. Did you catch the Jaren Jackson Jr.'s performance for the Grizzlies?
Yeah, they weren't allowing him to post up like in the first game. Whenever he was in the post up situation, they double team him like he's Nikola Jokic, and he needed time to adjust. He I think he never got double teamed in his entire career. I mean, yeah, I don't think there were a time the team who was like, oh, we need to double team Jaren Jackson Jr. But he's so good inside, so I think he needed time to adjust. I think he had 1 field goal attempt in the first 12 minutes because he was confused. And also one thing that messed up our bet is Dort was out, and I expect him to give a tough time to. He's an amazing defensive guy, and I thought he will give a tough time to the Dort and Ja Morant. But with him out, Ja Morant and especially Dylan Brooks went crazy. They just, I think they combined for like almost 60 points, and yeah, didn't need to go to the Jaren as much, and especially with these double teams and a blowout, he didn't came back into the last 6 minutes, and he was on a roll. He started the fourth quarter with 7 points in 2 minutes, and if he continued that, he could actually be close to the cover, but yeah, not a great game for him.
So, fortunate doesn't pan out here. So, from 2 guys with slow starts to a guy who definitely did not have a slow start, Jordan Poole, we had the over on him, and he covered this one really quickly. Absolutely no sweat here. Jordan Poole maybe back to his best with games like this, but the Warriors lose by 1 on a, I think it was Jordan Poole who actually turned the ball over with 5 seconds left to give the ball back to the Jazz, who win by 1 point here. But that doesn't matter for our bet. Jordan Poole easily covers his line. How did the game go for him?
Yeah, as expected, with the way Utah Jazz defend, I talked about this a ton of time. They just leave the ball handler to do it all, staying on their guys. And actually, I think they lost the game because of the Klay Thompson. I'm just not a huge fan of him forcing 25 shots in a game. Like, when you get the wide open shot and when you get a good look, okay, shoot it. But for you are not that player. I mean, he gets hot twice a year and he scores 40 points in some amazing no dribble shot shooting, but that's it. When I think his best role is a catch and shoot guy, especially a bit after this injury, he's not like the player he was before. And yeah, I think he was shooting, I think 8 from 25, which is like 30%. And yeah, you don't need to do that with Jordan Poole cooking and taking away shots from him. And like when you look at the stats, almost every other player from the Golden State Warriors was shooting 50% or more from the field. So he took a lot of good shots from the guys who can score at the better efficiency. I think that's the thing that cost them. And also he was 0 from 5 in the last 7 minutes of the game.
Wow.
In a close game, and yeah, they ruined a bit.
So Warriors.
And yeah, Jordan Poole was easy. He had 21 at the halftime.
Yeah.
And yeah, an easy car.
And the show might get some additional promo because if Klay Thompson ever catches wind of what you just said, he's going to call you out in the next press conference, and that'll drive some viewers to the show. So let's hope for that. Let's hope somebody send this over to Klay Thompson. Tell on Pips or what he's saying about Klay. He's coming off injuries. I'm just kidding. Yeah, if you're not shooting well, and there's a guy clearly shooting well, have the presence of mind to kind of take a step back, because Jordan Poole is absolutely cooking this one, which helped us with our bet. Moving on now, we're going to go into our next segment, the Thrive Fantasy segment. We want to remind you guys once again to prop up with Thrive Fantasy, the daily player prop tool where you can get involved with some great contests for cash prizes. Right now, you can sign up to Thrive Fantasy with code HAMMER for a 100% deposit match up to $250. And we're going to show you exactly what you can do with the contest here. So when you sign in, you go to the contest lobby along the top, and there's some football coming up, but go to the NBA portion. And right now, we're going to show you the $20 NBA Thursday. It's a smaller slate, but $2,000 in total prizes available. When you go to enter the contest, there's going to be some players available to choose from. 10 today, choose 5 of them, rack up the most points based on the player prop over or the under. There's a value assigned to how likely that prop is to occur. If you get the most points out of everybody who joins, you get $500 from the grand prize, but all the way down to 24th place, you can be in line for part of this prize. So super easy to get started, super easy to play with Thrive Fantasy, and with that bonus, you can be playing with the bookies' money, trying to take advantage of that. But as always, we want to make it a little bit easy for you guys to make this play. Pips, are there any specific props you like from this list of players here that you would encourage others to play with?
Yeah, for sure. The game of Houston and San Antonio Spurs. With Devin Vassell out, I like Keldon Johnson over 26.5 points and rebounds. I think that line should be like 29.5. So we are also getting 100 points on this great line. Mm-hmm. The next pick will be Kevin Porter Jr. over 8.5 rebounds and assists, but he is questionable, so that the ice pick will be Jalen Green over 20.5 points and assists. So that's a good correlation, taking Kevin Porter Jr. As the main bet, and if he sits, then we have a substitution with Jalen Green. Without Kevin Porter Jr. should easily cover 25.5 points and assists.
So I like that. You're just kind of playing on the way it works. If a guy's out, you have the nice backup there with Jalen Green, and good points available on those picks. So if Kevin Porter Jr. is playing 85 points, if he goes over, for Keldon Johnson, nice 100 for his over. Again, rack up the most points, get involved with Thrive Fantasy, and you could be in line for part of the cash prizes available. And with Thrive Fantasy, there's over $200,000 in prizes available weekly, so don't just stop with the NBA. You can also go to other sports and other NBA contests. We just like to highlight the biggest one for any given day. But with that, we're going to transition now into the official pick segment on the show. So it's been a good week so far, but it's always about the next day. You enjoy the wins, but it's only important if you keep them coming. So let's see if we can do that today with 2 official picks on the board. It is a small slate, but there's still some value here. First one is a straight play. Then we're going to go to an SGP. But first one in Clippers at the Heat, Reggie Jackson, and we're going for an under on this one.
So, yeah, I think Reggie Jackson under 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined against the Heat. Miami Heat, always a tough matchup for guards, especially point guards. They are always like showing at the bio, at the level, hedging screens, and yeah, always a tough matchup for the guards. And Reggie Jackson at 20.5, I think that's a huge mistake because John Wall is back. Paul George says he's playing. I mean, also Kawhi Leonard is not yet ruled out to play in this game. Luke Kennard is back, and with everyone healthy, Reggie Jackson is playing usually 24 to 26 minutes. And if you can show the graph for Reggie, this is the graph that shows Reggie in games where he played up to 34 minutes. So he covered this line only in 4 games. And if you look closely at the games, just a moment. If you look closely at the games, it's the games between
Bad
some weak
defenses.
teams. Yeah, Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, Sacramento Kings, and Denver Nuggets. I would say at the moment of the games, all of these teams were the bottom 5 defenses in the
Yeah,
league.
Sacramento are good now, but at the time, not good.
Yeah, so he went only 4 in 20, and that's with up to 34 minutes. And his average is 16 PRAs. If we scroll down the minutes, down to the, let's say, like 26 minutes, which is expected for him to play, like 24 to 26 minutes, he has gone over in only 1 game out of the 10, and his PRI average is 13.2. So I love this. If there isn't any unexpected players going out, and Paul George is confirmed to play, John Wall is also confirmed to play, Kennard is confirmed to play, with all of these guys playing in a tough matchup, I think this is one of the best bets we had so far this season.
Yeah, I really like this play. A good way to find value as well on the board beyond just a handicap here. You can compare like a FanDuel line or DraftKings line in this case to a sportsbook that takes larger limits like Pinnacle. Pinnacle have this exact same bet at minus 148 odds. That's a sportsbook that takes some of the sharpest money, don't set limits on their sharp players, so they do a pretty good job of setting the market. And you can see minus 150 compared to minus 148 there. That also showcased to me that this is a very good position on Reggie Jackson, and the handicap is as strong to go along with it. So love that play. Let's go to the second one over here. Same game parlay, and we have the Nuggets visiting the Blazers. You have been a fan of betting on the Nuggets, but we're going to add in Damian Lillard as well to a Nikola Jokic bet. Let's hear it.
So our second parlay is Damian Lillard over 5.5 assists, and Nikola Jokic over 19.5 points, which is minus 118 at FanDuel. So one of the reasons I like this bet is because Damian Lillard covered this line in, I think, 8 straight games, and the one coming back from the injury. So data is behind this. His potential assist went up as the season goes on. He had I think the 11 potential assists during the first 5 games, and he's now up to 16 potential assists over the last 8 games. So that's the great side of this pick. But also, we saw for Denver Nuggets, they are hedging screens against the players that can shoot, and they were double teaming Luka Doncic, and I think we could see some traps and hedges for Damian Lillard, because he is one of the best, I think, ever shooters, one of top 5 for all time, coming from the screen into the pull-up shooting. So I think Nikola Jokic is long, and he needs to be up there to contest and to actually stop him from shooting it, and that opens up a lot of space for Nurkic to on the roll. And also, I think the tag from the weak side is coming, so he will have a ton of passes to the corners for wide open threes. So I think this line should be easy for him to cover. And in the first game, he had 8 assists and 17 potential assists against the Nuggets. So I think we could see something similar. And the second part of this bet is Nikola Jokic over 19.5 points. The Portland is doing great against the guards, so I think they will put Jeremy Grant or Hart at Jamal Murray, and they will probably do some damage there. I mean, they are doing great against the point guards. In the first game, Jamal Murray had only 8 points while he made some unbelievable late shot clock shots. So, and they are not double teaming Nikola Jokic. They are leaving Nurkic to play him one-on-one. And with all that, I think Jokic could score 20 points without much problems.
Yeah. So makes complete sense, both sides of the handicap on this one. Before we recap, you seemed extremely confident about that first one. A question from a viewer also named Jacob here, 1.5 units on Jackson. Is that something that you'd recommend, or you just want to stick to the straight unit size?
Yeah, I will recommend 1.5 units. Yeah, one of the best bets of the season so far.
So we also track all these plays publicly for you guys on the BetStamp app. You can go to the Find Betters tab, search pick and roll. You can see all of our plays. For the tracking purposes, do you also want to make this one a 1.5 unit play?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so first, over 1 unit play of the season, going 1.5 units on the first pick as we recap now. Reggie Jackson under 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That is minus 115 at FanDuel and DraftKings. Handicap is strong. Value on the board, in my opinion, is also very strong. So we're going for 1.5 units. Big bomb banger on that one. And you can see the graph showcasing why there is such a strong lean over there. And in the second play, we have the Nuggets at the Blazers. Damian Lillard over 5.5 assists. Nikola Jokic over 19.5 points. That is minus 118 at FanDuel. So we've had a good week so far. Adam's been loving the picks as well. So hopefully we can do the same for the rest of the week. As always, guys, important to talk about the winners, important to talk about the losers, as we always do on this show. But to be honest, it was a slow start to the show in the first week or so. Since then, there's been a really, really good record, and we're just hoping to keep that up, and we appreciate all of the support on Pick and Roll. We go live every single weekday, usually at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, Croatia, massive World Cup game at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, which Pips, of course, does not want to miss, and I completely understand why. So we're going to go early on the show. We're going to go at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So to convert that, it is 2 hours and 15 minutes earlier than normal. We're going to be looking for picks, maybe find some early market value. As always, you can watch this show at any time over the course of the day after that. So completely fine if you cannot watch it live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And on podcast, it'll be up a little bit earlier than normal tomorrow as a result of those things going on. So make sure you keep it locked. Check out the Twitter for all the updates on the schedule for the show. But this show is every day, every weekday, as we look to give out some NBA picks along with some discussion. For more sports betting content, check out thehammer.bet. They have sports betting content for every sport, some soccer content as well for the World Cup that I host on weekday nights at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time, going live tomorrow over there. And make sure to sign up to Thrive Fantasy with code HAMMER for a 100% deposit match up to $250. We'll see you tomorrow at bright and early at 9 a.m. Eastern for more from Pick and Roll.